I am bringing another episode of Writing is Hard to you guys, and some of you might be going, Michaela, are you like Gretchen and wrote like 4 novels in the time between now and then? And while you are like not as prolific, this trying to be a writer has become a revelation for you and you have moved on to this. And I'm gonna say no, false, I read a book. Yep, that's me. Book reader, not writer. I want to write, but I don't do the thing. I did mention way back, I think in February when I started this book, that I was reading it and that it was on Gretchen's recommendation, that this was one of the most helpful and most significant books she read in her writing degree. And that's obviously Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. I hadn't read it. I hadn't taken any writing classes in college. And while I did write creatively, I didn't ever have that experience of sitting in a class and critiquing. I'm much more comfortable creating like traditional art in drawings and paintings and things because I did have those spaces in those classes where my art could be critiqued in the same way, whereas for the most part my writing was only ever academic writing that was being critiqued, which is very different and a lot less cutting to the bone when people critique it. This book was like a mix between a reality check and a pep talk, and for some reason that made it super endearing to both me and to Gretchen. Anne Lamott is very funny and like she makes fun of herself and has all of these anecdotes that while applying to either herself or people she's spoken with or kids she's taught or whatever it is, help me especially understand that what I'm feeling is a universal feeling for all writers, or should be a universal feeling for all writers in some cases. My self-doubt and my inability to focus and my anxiety and all of that stuff is something that most people feel, and she gives advice on how to overcome that, but she also gives advice on like not getting full of yourself. And even though people will have spoken to you and said you're a great writer, you should be doing XYZ, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are entitled to XYZ, that it's really your work, your dedication, and you that you should be writing for, improving yourself rather than, you know, letting the world see how the true art is inside of you this whole time and they just didn't know it, and winning all of the Pulitzer Prizes for no reason apparently. Not me. I'm definitely more on the self-doubt side of that than the full of myself side, but I do know that that exists as well in a lot of people. I agree with Gretchen that this is a really great book to sort of start with when you're thinking of being more serious about writing and perhaps writing either as a career or less than, you know, me writing 1 short story every 2 years. There were a lot of sections of this book that I highlighted, statements or anecdotes or ways that she goes about writing that I wanted to have quicker than having to reread the whole book. I wanted to be able to be like, okay, I'm struggling with this. There was a chapter in Bird by Bird about XYZ. There was a chapter in feeling like there's too much. I need to focus on something. There was a chapter on what to do when you are blocked. There's a chapter on, you know, just anything and everything that there is. Chapter on feeling shitty about the draft that you just wrote and knowing that that's okay and that everybody starts with a shitty first draft and all of these things. And that really helped. Have I started writing yet? Still no. But it did help change my mindset and how I look at writing and how I look at the projection of me in the future possibly writing. I don't think that I will ever write the next great American novel, or even the next pretty good American novel, but I will try to write something, and that's more than I can say for present me or past me. I need to make it a priority, and right now my priority is obviously having a place to live and having a job that doesn't make me miserable and trying to maintain decent mental health as I keep slipping and going into like this roller coaster ride of depression, anxiety. Once I get past all of that and I'm able to feel like I can create art without it compromising my being, I'm gonna focus more on this. Until then, I think I'm gonna keep reading as I do, because one of the things that I find is most important to a writer is reading other people's work, dissecting it and looking at how they go about doing certain things so that you can then use it in your own work. And while a lot of people would say that's cheating and stealing and all of that, I'm not word for word copying people, but just looking at all of the different things that I really love in books and how it was achieved, and seeing how I can change that or overlay that on the stories I want to tell, in a way that works and in a way that tells the story I want to tell and has the reaction I want it to have in my readers. Are you guys writing anything right now? I know that Gretchen's still editing her last novel, so there's that. And if you haven't watched her I Wrote a Novel Now What series, I will link the playlist to that and highly recommend that if you are one of those people who's made that leap past the leap I made to actually write the thing and now are at the, oh god, I don't want to edit it and tear it apart and see how shitty my work actually is stage. I don't even get there. I just assume my work is going to be shitty and then don't write anything. Classic Michaela. It's fine, whatever. Hopefully you guys are having lovely weeks, and I will talk to you again soon.